Hi, I got asked on how I create the controllers and what I was exactly looking for this week. Now, the actual milestone assignments talk about, four of this, three of this, two of this. That's pretty detailed and over the top. I want you to have a fully functioning rig, and whatever that means to you. Of course, if something isn't working, you don't have a controller for something that needs to move, we would talk about it. You need to have base ones, but I don't need four for the spine. That's a little aggressive. Some of you didn't even have four joints, so how can I expect you to have four controllers? So, quite simply, I'm going to hide my mesh real quick. This is a simplified version. I didn't do fingers. And please see my other video on doing the whole foot control. But I create NURB circles. I use circles for everything. You can totally use squares. You can make your own shapes. It's really kind of up to the rigger. And that's why this is so cool, because once you've set up your rig, it's going to go on to an animator, and they just have to use it with however you see fit. Take a look sometimes at some of the characters that you can download to animate with, and the rigging is insanely different for some of them, but all of the base theory is the same. So, I'm going to scale this up. I'll start with a base one. Again, you can do a Control-D to duplicate, or you can make from scratch. We also want snaps. Again, if you want to snap to the center of a joint, we can just use your snaps up here. Just don't forget to label. So character controller. I'll do spine. I know we've talked about the feet in another video, but just to show you, and we don't want any rotate here, 90, scale it down. If you ever find that your gizmo is bigger or smaller, you can hit the plus and minus sign to change size. I know somebody had asked about that. You can line that up. This is my left arm IK. And again, I don't use spaces whenever I label anything. I use capital letters. You can use underscores, but I would try to limit your use of spaces. A lot of times that causes some glitches. You should also be incrementing your saves. You can go File, Increment and Save, or just save as, and so like this one is Human Model Skeleton 1, the next one would be Human Model Skeleton 2. I never want you to just save over it, especially with these big programs. If you were to just continuously save over, if you have a glitch, which you didn't do anything to cause, but it's there, then you can't undo it because you don't have anything to go back. You have to start from scratch because we can't necessarily remove the glitch. So just something to be aware of. And this is my right. Oops. So some people don't use IK on the arms. Forward kinematics versus inverse, a lot of times with the legs, you are picking your foot up to walk. It's how we work. Try to walk with like swinging your hip. It's a very weird activity because then you would swing your hip, you'd have to bend your knee, then rotate your ankle. Whereas when we actually walk just picking up the feet with the IK, it's kind of like a train, the tires on or the wheels and the gizmo that move. We go up and over, up and over. Walking is technically, catching ourselves from falling. Now, that being said, with our arms, we tend to move more from our shoulder. If you have your hand on your desk and then you raise your arm, that's a shoulder movement. Yes, you could kind of start with your wrist and move your shoulder, or you can start with your shoulder and go down to the wrist. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to do IK here, or if you want to duplicate some controllers and use them that way. Either is fine for this assignment. So I'm just going to do these four. Of course, you need the feet, you'd want the head. I would probably do one more at least for the spine. Okay, but we can keep it fairly simple. All right, so now when it comes to bringing these together, you're gonna grab your NURBS curve first, and then hold shift and grab your IK. If you find that your gizmo is in the way, just hit Q, that's your selection, and then you can click it. If you would prefer, you can grab the left arm IK, hit Command, and grab the actual IK handle here. Don't hold shift, it'll grab everything between, but just do the NURBS curve first, and then the IK, and we'll go to Constrain and Parent. Click off of it, then you can click on the NURBS curve. You can see that everything has been activated, and I can move it. So then we'll do the same thing on the other side, Parent. Okay, and we'll just follow along this pattern. And of course, I would check them as you go along. You never want to just start going nuts. Then with your whole character controller, you're going to want to grab your main joint that grabs the whole character. So mine's the waist, Constrain, and Parent. So you can see that this activates, but the problem here is, whoa, I'm breaking my chain. I'm breaking my rig. What happened? Well, when we select the whole character controller, we have to make sure that these controllers are also selected. So now we need to start kind of making a parent chain here. So I'll grab my spine, left arm and right arm, middle mouse, click and drag until you're over the main controller. That makes it the parent. If you prefer hotkey P, you can do it that way as well. But now you can see I'm moving my whole character. So you'll kind of have to play around depending upon, you know, if you were to not do IK, when you grab the shoulder, you need to make sure it grabs all the way down. So if you have any controllers that way, you need to do that. And I would suggest playing around with it. I mean, you're mainly all new to rigging, so see what happens. Save often, and then see, you know, if I parent this and this, what moves, what happens. Explore different things. I know that rigging can be confusing at first, but it's really a lot of fun, and it's a lot about trial and error. So don't give up. Feel free to ask some questions, play around with it, and see what you think. And I look forward to seeing your final rigs. And then we'll go forward to binding to the skin. We will be using Human IK for animation, just to make sure we're all on the same page with that. And I look forward to getting into animation. So I will talk to you all soon.